let's go ahead and move on as far as that card to just a quick recap. If you guys have not noticed or forgotten or given a shit, the Ultimate Fighter's back. Most people have probably not really cared. Just based off of the response I'm seeing online, I saw nothing about it like on Reddit, on Twitter the day after. I mean, like there's been zero talk of this, which kind of sucks because overall, the Ultimate Fighter it was a show that's was very influential in the early days of the UFC as far as getting traction. They put it on Spike, and it did huge numbers. And for a long time, it was a huge show. There's been such amazing moments. I mean, I've watched multiple seasons, and now they're back for the first time in I believe 3 or 4 years. And literally, I've seen very little talk of it. We're gonna go and talk about it, man. Obviously, the coaches Alexander Volkanovski and Brian Ortega, they're gonna fight later this year. But as for the teams, it's gonna be bantamweights and middleweights. And as far as it goes, man, first fight up, we saw Andre Petrowski subbing Aaron Phillips. As far as that goes, man, what are just kind of like, it's kind of hard to kind of recap this, at least week one, because there's not a whole lot to talk about. But what are some of the dudes that kind of stuck out to you and your kind of takeaways from the first episode?
I mean, obviously, we didn't get to see a lot of like what they can actually perform. Obviously, we saw them train, do some drills, but it's really hard. Obviously, we can take our time to look up some of their fights because some of these guys have fought in, obviously some pretty good promotions. I mean, Aaron Phillips fought in Alaska FC, and we know that Alaska FC is kind of has been around for quite a while and has put up a lot of shows. Credit to them. And then I know one of these guys, I can't think off the top of my head. One of them's been in Bellator, and they decided to come onto the Ultimate Fighter. I can't remember who. I know he's someone we got to keep an eye on. I can't remember who it is off the top of my head. And obviously there was they got to do some sit downs with them and tell some stories. We were talking about it earlier. I mean, Trishan Gore, his story is one that I think will impact a lot of people, and he'll be definitely a guy coming in with a lot on his back and kind of trying to make a statement. And then as far as personalities for me, I mean, Ricky was one who we highlighted. I think he's going to be a fun guy during the season. Maybe a sleeper guy that a lot of people don't expect to put out a performance for, not looking like a fighter and maybe not having like you can tell he's a guy who might be into some like nerdy stuff because I saw him doing some kind of poses out there.
Yeah.
He looks like a guy we'll enjoy. As far as a guy that I think looks like your prototypical fighter, I mean Andre, who we had on our first fight, who looks like he might be one of the guys at least right now. Obviously, we only saw one fight. He looks like he's kind of like, he came out and made a statement really quickly on obviously Aaron Phillips in that first fight. I know I'm rambling a little bit here, but I mean, just to carry on, I mean, when Josh, and you probably had the same reaction when you heard Aaron Phillips got most of his MMA training for YouTube. That's probably when you were like, "Yep, I know."
I was like, "That's it.
That's it.
That's done."
But yeah, I'll throw it back to you. I went on a little tangent there and kind of went off.
No, you're good, bro. I mean, overall, episode 1 was pretty fun. At this point, if you've seen one of the Ultimate Fighters, like if you've seen one season, if you've seen one episode, you've seen it all, man. And that's not to be disrespectful, but at this point, there's 29 seasons. You know what you're getting into, bro. I mean, you got 16 dudes in a house. They're all gonna fight, at least in their own weight class. They're going to fight, and they're going to be a winner, and they're going to get a nice contract at the end of the season. You kind of get that idea. They make sure they're stocked up on booze in the house, and they're not allowed to see their family. They're not allowed to leave the house. Crazy shit always happens. At this point, you know what you're getting with the Ultimate Fighter. Some of it's like manufactured reality drama, but who knows? Overall, dude, I'm a big fan of Trishan Gore. A big fan of Ricky, like you said. Pretty cool dude. Overall, though, like, it was a good episode. It was a good episode.
I mean, it's early on. We don't know. As far as, like, obviously, like I said, we can look up these guys, watch their fights outside of, when they were in other promotions, right? Because obviously we don't know a lot about them yet. We got to wait for the episodes to come out and see them fight each week. So it's going to be hard right now to see who's looking like the guy, right? Or who's someone who's going to be who we think is going to come out out of each weight class,
Yeah, and as far as it goes, man, I mean, like, we can talk about this real quickly. I mean, like, the coaches of the show, Ortega and Volkanovski, dude, definitely got a lot of hate whenever they were announced, because a lot of people were looking for Colby, or they're looking for Connor, or they're looking for, like, a huge star. overall, man, I was actually kind of enjoying them. I like the kind of
Yeah.
camaraderie that they're having with their team, and sometimes the dudes that you don't expect are like kind of the best coaches. I mean, I remember like Chael Sonnen was a phenomenal coach. Mayhem Miller was a great coach from like season I
Uh-huh.
think 10. No, it wasn't 10. It was like
I mean,
15. I
and we've
think he
had
was.
some bad coaches, dude. I mean, great example, Forrest Griffin.
Yeah, I love Forrest, man, but some of these dudes just are not good coaches. I mean, I still can't believe they let Brock Lesnar coach a season. Lesnar had 6 MMA fights at that point,
Oh my god.
and he was coaching against JDS. Although apparently I've heard from Tony Ferguson's talked about it a lot. Apparently he was a great coach.
Oh yeah, that was
Brock
the Ferguson
was.
season. I forgot.
Yeah. But there's just some really, really bad ones, man.
But I
I
mean,
mean,
as I think the guys that realistically though, you can tell these guys are kind of invested because you saw Brian, like he talked about on the show. He's taught a lot into because obviously the jiu-jitsu background. A lot of times those guys also teach when they reach a certain level. So he's going to be really good at explaining stuff. And then obviously, I don't know if you knew this or I don't know if you pay, but Craig Jones was brought in for Team Volkanovski. I think that was almost calculated to counter Brian a little bit and help the guys
yeah,
out with the jiu-jitsu. Which I think Craig Jones was a really fun guy to bring on. I'm so happy they brought on Craig.
yeah.
I was like that. I'm like that is so calculated. I'm like that's so sneaky, Volk, you motherfucker.
And overall, man, I'm a really big fan of a lot of the dudes that are in that on both teams. Because I mean, you mentioned Craig Jones. I got to shout out my boy Tiki Gosen on Team Ortega. So I mean, overall, they got some fun dudes on both squads, and I do enjoy both the coaching. Like it's gonna sound weird because like the entertainment factor is probably not there as much as far as like if they had a Colby Masvidal season, or if they had a Connor Dustin season, or if they had some other big star in there, right?
Izzy
The entertainment factor,
Vittori.
yeah, if they didn't have
Izzy anybody.
they don't have such a huge star, but I kind of appreciate like just the coaching side, like the actual like. Sometimes I love MMA more than anything. It's a spectacle sport unlike no other, besides maybe boxing, which we'll get into later. I mean, boxing is all about fucking spectacle. But sometimes I just appreciate like the actual athletic part of it, just like kind of like the coaching side of things, which I think Ortega and Volkanovski be like probably technically wise two of the best dudes you're gonna pick for that thing.
You can tell they care. You can tell they
Yeah,
care about each guy and having them perform. Because I mean, even in that first episode, I mean, you saw what was it? I think Brian dedicated specifically 2 hours just to Andre, just the day before the fight. Just talking game plan. Because obviously no one else had a fight at the moment. Obviously, they did announce the other fight. We didn't know that until the end of the episode that they also
yeah,
picked that. But yeah, you can tell these guys are genuinely invested and they want to see each guy succeed.
for sure, man. And I'm gonna go ahead and spring this on you right now. This doesn't really count for anything because we always track fight picks and we do stuff like that. But just make your bold prediction. Who's going to be champ at the end of the season for middleweights and then also for bantamweights? Who's going to be the ultimate fighter?
Oh my God, Josh, this is so early on. This
It
kid
doesn't
literally.
matter. I don't care. We're doing it for season one, so that way from episode one, that way you have like a dude you can follow.
Oh man.
I'll do mine if you don't want to go.
Okay, go first. Go first.
For
Maybe you'll hype
middleweight,
me.
we'll go and start lower weights, bantamweights. I'm gonna go Vince Murdoch. That's my bold prediction.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that's that bold because I believe he was near the end of. He was picked 7th, but I've actually followed that dude before.
He has some
seen
of the
a couple
most
of
fight
his fights.
experience on this roster too.
Yeah,
So,
exactly, and that's going to be big.
him and Ricky
Um,
actually, which is weird.
Yeah, and he's 12-4. He's fought in the Contender Series before. He's fought in Bellator before. He's been around the game, man. So I'm gonna go Vince Murdoch, and then as far as middleweights, I am gonna go Tresean Gore.
You don't. He just can't lose, man. Can he? He has to do it, right?
He has to do it, man. I mean,
that's
just
the kind of
listen to his
energy he
story and
has.
his journey, man. Like I want him to do it.
Oh man. You know something? This is based off no information, nothing. I'm gonna go Andre and I'm gonna go Ricky.
That's fair enough, man. That's fair enough. I mean, like I was gonna try.
I think Mitch has some potential though. A lot of people have.
I was gonna pick Andre, but it almost feels cheap because he was the first middleweight picked. But
He also
looked
has a lot of
damn
experience though. He has a lot of experience. He's fucking huge, and real strong, good striking, and obviously the wrestling too.
Mhm.
And dude, he's not even done, fully developing his game, and especially now with Brian on his side and kind of that team, I think he'll develop. I mean, if they really mold him, I think they could do a good job.
And I'm pretty sure Tresean Gore has the. How many fights do he have? 3?
3, yeah, but he has some
so
fucking power.
he's definitely like one of the I want to say he's like has like the least experience on the show. So I'm gonna go ahead and take him just like
He's the most moldable though. You got to think about that too. The guys who are very raw and want to learn and have a lot on the line are guys who are willing to learn a lot. Yeah, they're willing to learn a lot, change a lot, and fix those little holes.
For sure, man.
And who was the first pick? Who was the first pick actually at a team? It was Mitch?
Yeah, it was Mitch.
And then the second pick was Andre, right?
No, it was Daniel Argueta.
All right. I wonder. I don't know.
And Andre was the first middleweight picked.
Now, Josh, is Kerman Lichinov gonna be a sleeper, Josh? Cameron.
Maybe. Because here's the thing, man. I don't know the history of the Ultimate Fighter, but like I feel like a lot of those dudes that are picked near the last always end up being killers.
Was it Rashad Evans the last pick?
He may have been. I think
Kelvin?
he actually was because he was that was a heavyweight season.
Yeah, that was the heavyweight season. He was small.
Yeah, very small dude. So it's not unheard of for a lot of those dudes who were picked last or picked near the last to actually end up killing it. So
yeah, I mean Kelvin was the last pick. I know that for a fact because Dana said it. So there you go.
Yeah, Rashad was not the last pick, but he was like the fifth pick.
That's kind of crazy, dude.
Yeah,
looking back at it.
Yeah, that season was great, dude. That was the Ultimate Fighter season 2. Everybody talks about season 1. Season 2 had Joe Stevenson, Keith Jardine, Seth Petrozelli, Josh Berkman, Marcus Davis, Rashad Evans, Melvin Gillard. Like, that was a great season.
Yeah, no. Well, they had to rally back, Josh. I mean, they followed it up with the first one. They had to carry that hype.
Well, then season 3 had fucking Bisping, Kendall Grove, Matt Hamill, Caleb Starnes, Ross Point, like Ed Herman. Like, dude, those older Ultimate Fighter seasons, there's a reason why everybody has so much like nostalgia for them.
They carry that energy. Yeah, they carry that energy.
And then obviously season 4 had, Travis Luter, Patrick Cote, the boy Matt Serra, Chris Lyle, Dean Thomas, Shoney Carter.
Dean Thomas.
Yeah, all those dudes. Jorge Rivera. That's an old name, man. Yeah, man. Hell of a good episode. So it was pretty fun, man. I think
like next week's gonna be a banger.
I think the season's gonna be a banger. Now, I do hope it does well. I selfishly do enjoy the Ultimate Fighter, and I don't want to see it go away. And I saw literally nobody talking about this episode. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Anything can happen, man. Some crazy stuff can happen that will, some stuff can happen in the house that would, bring people in. Some controversy or maybe a good fight. I mean, a lot of stuff could attract people. We got to have hope. I don't know how many people watched. I'm kind of curious to see how many people watched the premiere, I guess, of The Return.
I don't think we're actually going to find it out because it was on ESPN Plus. So I don't think that those ratings are released. Sadly. Maybe they are, but I don't think so.
Yeah.